Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful Comic-Con loving wife, Michelle.
Thank you, sweetie. Hello, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode on Sunday, July 21st, 2019. It's been a heck of a weekend out here in San Diego with Comic-Con going on.
Oh, yeah. A lot of things happening this weekend. Movie premieres, Comic-Con. Man, oh, man.
We're going to get to a lot of that today. Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. Best place to find us, however, is at our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of great work. It's looking spiffy.
Thank you. Spiffy. I like that. It's the Spiffy website.
That's right.
Yeah. Trying to make it look as best as possible. You can also find us, and better yet, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can find us on Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartMedia, lots of different places. If there's some place that you normally listen to podcasts that you can't find us, please let us know, because we want to try and find a way to get on there to make it easier for you to listen to us.
Exactly. And what we really appreciate is if you take a moment or two just to give us a review, let us know how it's going with our podcast. We want to make it better and better. And best of all, if you could tell a friend.
Yeah, just as simple as that. Tell a friend about us. Get the word out that this podcast exists, that you kind of like it, that, maybe Tom and Michelle are kind of fun, or you just laugh at us, whatever the case may be. But please tell a friend about us. Reviews would be wonderful if you have the time. They help various people find out about this podcast, any podcast. If there's another podcast that you listen to regularly that you love, reviews help them so very much.
Exactly. And there's other ways that you can reach out to us and let us know how things are going.
Exactly. And that best way to find us is on social media. We love all our Hyperion adventurers. We love all the people we interact with on social media. And you can find us out there. Best place is on Twitter. We have a lot of fun on Twitter, and you can find us there at Hyperion Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And if you ever want to reach out to us, just send us a note, tell us what you think of the show, whatever the case may be. Even if you just want to say hi, you can always email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. We really appreciate hearing from you all. And as you mentioned, Tom, on social media, we love interacting with everybody, and it's just a bunch of fun.
We have a lot of fun out there with all you Hyperion adventurers and all of our social media friends, all these other podcasts, bloggers. We just have a great time. You should follow along and interact with us all, because we all appreciate it. As for today's show, lots of stuff for you today, including we were out at San Diego Comic-Con 2019 on Friday. We'll talk a little bit about that and a couple of announcements that have happened over the last couple days. And we have a quick, I was going to say spoiler free, but the movie is so much like the original that we may just go into some spoilers of the new live action Lion King.
Yeah. And our most exciting part of this episode is for our guests that are joining us.
Right, and they are about to join us here. We're so excited to have them on our show. We've been on their show, and we had a blast with them, but we're going to have some fun today. So let's not hesitate any longer. Let's get to our main topic of the week, and we are so excited for this. We've been talking to these guys for so long. We've been a guest on their show. We've been excited to have them on our show. We're so pleased to welcome Trent and Jenny from the Disney DNA podcast. Trent, Jenny, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's a treat and an honor to always talk to you guys. Y'all are so awesome and so fun.
Well, we feel the same admiration for you all, and we feel really honored to have you on here. I want you to know that we listen to your show not just for the sheer enjoyment that it brings us, but you've been doing this for quite a while now, and you have it nailed down to perfection, and it is always entertaining and always fun, and we're trying to learn from you all.
Well, thank you. That's so sweet.
Thank you. And you're going to tear me up, Michelle. I'm developing isolate right now. Just hearing those kind words. I'm truly just a humbled guy here, because this has been our baby for 3.5 years, just doing our show. And it's something that it's fun to just share that passion with everyone,
right?
Our passion for Disney and all things Disney. And I enjoy spending my time with my awesome wife, Jenny, as my co-host. And we occasionally have our 2 daughters with And they're great. That's Sophia and Brooklyn. They are a great co-host and a lot of fun. And we keep things family.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
We're big fans of your show, and we're so happy that you were willing to join us and happy that you were willing to have us on your show as well. So before we get to our topic, though, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about yourselves and your show. Can you tell us, how you became such big Disney fans and how you took that and decided to make that into a Disney podcast?
I guess I'll go first. I didn't go to Disney World until our honeymoon in 2005, and then we didn't go back until our youngest was tall enough to ride the attractions. I really did not grow up watching Disney movies or just TV in general. It wasn't my thing. I didn't own a TV until Trent came into the picture.
That's true.
Wow.
And so I think it's more his excitement for everything that got me excited for it. I love to plan. So when we first decided to take the girls, I really got into Disney World because there are so many aspects of your trip that you have control over, and you get to plan out and the different experiences and stuff. So that's kind of when I got excited for Disney in general.
Yep. And for me, I'm going to try not to get tearful because it's such a passion for me. Here I go already. Disney to me is just, it's amazing. For me, it started that 8-year-old kid. My family took me. It was just Magic Kingdom and Epcot back then. And just going for that first time, I remember it to this day, going through those gates, walking down Main Street, seeing that castle and seeing that magic happen in front of me. And then fast forward time, because I have gone for many, many, many years, and then getting this podcast started, I truly started this thing when we went a few times and I came back and I just got this crazy feeling like, Jenny, let's do a Disney podcast, but let's spin it. Let's do a family podcast.
Nice.
Something that we can involve our daughters because they were getting old enough to want to speak on the microphones and just have fun. So we developed our family style podcast, which we call all of our listeners part of our podcast family. And that's what it feels like. We have grown. We have developed some awesome friendships, and we love our listeners. They mean the world to us because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing these shows. We do this because of our love for Disney and for our fans and our family and friends and just having fun. And I love talking Disney, from the movies, the parks, you name it, to anything, because it's part of my childhood growing up and going into my adult years. I love it, and I could talk about it all day, right, Jenny?
He does. He talks about Disney or podcasting pretty much all day, every day.
Nice.
I've got this little saying since day one. Podcasting for me is PFP, which stands for Passion for Podcasting. I love that because it's something that I cannot wait each week to come sit down at this microphone and just talk about Disney, because it's kind of like going to parks, because when you get there, all the troubles of the world go away. So when I sit down at this table and talk with Jenny and guests and whoever's on with us, it feels like we're in the parks because we don't have to worry about all those things anymore. For that little bit of time, it's magical, and I love that.
Right.
I can completely relate with all of that, Trent, Jenny. And especially funny about the podcast thing is because we started doing the podcast ourselves because we were wearing all our friends and family's ear out talking about Disney all the time. And, it's like, so we need to find another avenue for this. But now we wear them out not only with Disney all the time, we also wear them out with talking about the podcast all the time. So I can totally relate to it all.
And don't you find it fun also just preparing for the podcast? Like you get to think about the topic, which is Disney, and whether you're talking about the parks or a movie or whatever, and you just kind of get to have that moment again in that world just as you're preparing the material for the podcast.
I think so. And I'm so meticulous about it that it drives Jenny crazy. She knows
it does. He's got notes and he's got bullet points, and he picks on me for this. I will be like at work and on a scratch sheet of paper write down a couple words, and he's like, "That's it," and I'm like, "Yes, I can tell you everything I want to tell you from these 4 keywords."
Nice.
Yeah. I plan, and I'm a little OCD with that because I really like to be prepared and give a good just a good topic and a good explanation, and just have fun with it.
Right.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Totally relate to that. So, that's great stuff. So let's get to our topic of the day. And we usually, if you've listened to our show, you know that we usually tape this thing right around lunchtime. So we're usually starving when we're in the show. So we like to talk food. And we've thought, what a great topic to bring Trent and Jenny and the Disney DNA podcast on to talk about food at the Disney resorts.
Right.
So we're going to,
I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to go through, pick out our favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner spots in the parks or in the resorts, kind of give our favorite dish for each one, and, just have some fun with it.
Absolutely. And so it was fun preparing for this because, again, it was kind of like when you're preparing to go into the park and get your advanced dining reservations ready and things. So it's like, okay, even though I know in my top of my head what some things are, I don't want to slip up and miss something else. I got to go through all of them again.
Right. We do that every trip. But what's really funny is y'all picked us for this topic because we're not big Disney foodies. I have the problem of I think I'm a pretty decent cook. And when I am eating other people's food, going, if they added this or if they did that, it would be that much
I understand.
better.
Yes.
Or there's been a few places that we've eaten that's supposed to be like Louisiana food, like at Boat Rights. And I'm like, this isn't right.
Not even close. Not even close.
No.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to go, okay, like really, what are my favorites that I do enjoy that I wouldn't change anything?
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of thought about what would I not change?
Excellent.
That's perfect. I mean, not everybody out there is a foodie or considers themselves a foodie. There are plenty of people that eat all sorts of different types of food. And sometimes it's simple. Right. Sometimes it's more complex. And they kind of try and hit the broad gamut of it all. So that's why, we thought you coming on board would be great. I know, Jenny, I've heard you talking about cooking before, so I know you like to cook. So I figured that would play a part of it as well. Yeah. So this I think is end up being the perfect topic for us to bring on this time. So let's start with breakfast. Okay, we're starting the day at the parks. We're getting out. Where are we going to have our breakfast? And of course, we're going to start with our guests that are with us today. Jenny, please let us know what's your favorite spot to have breakfast at the resorts.
Yeah, Jenny.
Well, Port Orleans, he's laughing at me.
I'm curious myself.
A lot of times we bring our own breakfast. Yeah. But when we do get breakfast, Port Orleans French Quarter has actually gluten-free beignets that are really good. And on the menu, I guess this is one thing I would change. On the menu, you can get dipping sauce for beignets. Like, that is not how beignets are supposed to be.
Right, exactly.
Just a little bit of powdered sugar on top.
That's it.
And if you grew up eating beignets like at Cafe Du Monde or Coffee Call, somewhere like that, you have to have a cup of hot cocoa to go with it.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to have, because I like to have sweet and a little more. I can't just go on all sugar. So I'm having my beignets and my hot cocoa.
Nice.
But I'm also going to get just some buttermilk biscuits and some grits. But the grits have to have a little bit of butter and be salted. They can't be plain. And they can't be runny.
No,
but they can't be too dry. So, I'm a little particular about how I eat my grits. But that's what I like to have for breakfast. And I used to throw some sort of meat in there, but now I get bad indigestion. So we're not going with any protein. We're just going sugar and carbs.
Nice.
They got to get you going so you have a day out in the parks perfectly.
Right.
That's right.
And by the way, we understand too, because a lot of times when we're at the bar, we'll maybe do a breakfast or maybe two in our stay, but a lot of times we are eating out of wherever we are staying as well. As a matter of fact, a lot of times we have a place that has at least a kitchenette or something, so we can cook up a little something just right there on the spot. Just easier to get things together on the go. But we also do like to hit a couple of restaurants on the way, so that's why we thought we'd go through a couple of these.
Yeah.
So
this year we actually have dining reservations for 2 breakfasts, which we've only done Crystal Palace before, but we're doing Cinderella's Royal Table for breakfast and then Tusker House breakfast.
Oh, very nice.
Which, I mean, they're all basically the same.
Oh, yeah.
But we generally don't we're not big breakfast eaters in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Totally understand. Trent, what about you? Do you have a choice for your breakfast spot, favorite breakfast spot?
Absolutely. And I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Jenny just mentioned. It's Crystal Palace at Magic Kingdom right there on Main Street, USA. I love this place because of a bunch of reasons. First of all, it's a fantastic breakfast buffet, and it's about $38 a person, but you got to put in your gratuity still. But this is the cool thing. This is what you get. You got scrambled eggs and an omelet station. Absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Breakfast meats and potatoes. You get pancakes and waffles, freshly baked pastries, assorted breakfast cereals, seasonal fruit, and of course I have to wash that down with a nice big glass of orange juice or milk. And I'm happy. I love it. But the best thing is you get to hang out with your friends, Winnie the Pooh and friends. You have Chicken Fingers and Eeyore.
Yes.
I love eating there. The girls do too. I love the photo opportunities and have them sign the autograph book. It is always priceless. I love it.
Yeah, can't agree more. That is a really awesome place, and those characters, you know, you don't always see them everywhere, and so having that location, and I'm a big Pooh Bear fan.
She is.
Here.
Me and my mom, I think we bought so many Pooh Bear clothing for each other.
It goes back for me as a baby in my crib. My sheets were
Oh,
Pooh Bears.
wow. Very cool.
Yeah. So when I was pregnant with Brooklyn, because Trent had Winnie the Pooh, his mom bought Brooklyn Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Nice. Nice.
Love them.
Really cool. Really cool. You know, character breakfasts are great because, I mean, yeah, you can go all over the parks and wait in lines to meet these characters, but, you know, they come to you when you're at these character breakfasts. They're right there.
That's right.
It's the easiest way to, yes, there's a little price you pay for them, of course, but it's the easiest way to get to a bunch of characters in a short amount of time.
Right. And if anybody's really interested in those character breakfasts, they got to listen to your show couple weeks ago about the character breakfasts. It was really good. I mean, you covered everything. I was like, gosh, I wouldn't even had a question after listening to all of this.
Yeah. And you know what was interesting with that show is as we were researching where all of the character dining is, there's a lot of places that do character dining that you do not know do character dining.
Right.
Some of the resorts do character dining that you don't think about. There are also a few places off property at some of the other hotels.
Right. I remember hearing you talk about them.
Do character dining as well. They have gotten permission from Disney to do them, so they have it as well. So if you're not staying on property but want to do character dining, there are other options that are more affordable for those who are looking for them.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a really great tip. Yeah, definitely. So definitely be looking out for that on your next day out at the Walt Disney. And definitely listen to the Disney DNA podcast episode that explains all about it because they have some great information there. Michelle, let's get to your favorite breakfast spot. And I'm hoping it's not copying mine.
I hope not either. So, I mean, like we said, we're similar to you. A lot of times we're eating out of our resort room. But sometimes what I like to do as a treat is go to Epcot, and actually the France Pavilion has their patisserie open earlier. And so if you kind of go in that back entrance by Boardwalk and everything,
the International Gateway,
right? Yeah. You can go in there and get some breakfast there. And so I usually like to, if I'm going to do that, just get a croissant and a glass of champagne or a mimosa, and then I take it. And there's usually nobody else there. It's usually pretty empty if you go like first thing, like around 9:00 when they're open there, and just sit on the little tables there and listen to the background music and. It just feels like you're totally immersed into a little cafe in Paris, and it just brings back a lot of great memories for me, and it's just more the atmosphere and just making it simple.
Yeah. It's a very nice choice and one of our favorite spots. We actually pick up, we talk about having breakfast in the room. We'll sometimes when we're at Epcot, pick up the croissants and just bring them back and have them the next morning as we get up in the rooms because they are that good. So totally enjoy that for sure. So nice choice.
Thank you.
My choice is completely different. I'm going really, really hearty breakfast.
Wow.
Really, really country style breakfast. And that's going to be at the Trails End Restaurant at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campgrounds. It is one of our favorite spots and a must hit at least once almost on all of our trips for breakfast. They really have they go everything. It's a buffet style meal. Goes everything from your typical Mickey waffles all the way to these great hand carved smoked bacon to lots of smoked meats, fried chicken. It's really more of a brunch than almost a breakfast. Of course, they have egg dishes, fruits, salads, pastries. They have these great flatbread pizzas that are wonderful there. I just really love going there and just totally gorging myself on this great food.
Nice.
My favorite dish there is they have this smoked meat hash that has this really wonderful smoked meat with potatoes and onions and peppers. It's just one of my favorite things, and I'll probably load my plate up with it at least a couple times every time we go.
Nice. Yes.
That sounds amazing. I have to say, I haven't done that yet, Tom, but I think it's on our bucket list.
It's one of the places we want to go eat. We might now look to try it for breakfast instead. We love breakfast food, but we don't really eat breakfast food at breakfast time. We generally eat it for supper.
I get that. Yeah. Breakfast for dinner is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Breakfast for supper.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We probably do that twice a week, sometimes more.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah. Well, and they do, on the weekends they have brunch there, and so you get that nice blend. Plus you can go a little bit later, so it carries you over till the evening.
Right.
Right.
But you'd love it. You'd love the atmosphere there, and it's a toast to Davy Crockett, and it just has a lot of woodwork, and just the atmosphere around there is very fun to have, kind of like that retro country look.
And it's just a nice boat ride, either from the Magic Kingdom or over from the Contemporary or the Wilderness Lodge. Yeah, they have boats running back and forth all day, and it's just an easy jaunt over there, and it's just right offside the boat dock, so it's really easy to get to.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's move on to lunch. Where do we like to eat lunch? And I'm interested to hear all these responses, because there's a wide gamut of places to eat lunch at the Disney parks and the resorts, of course. So let's, of course, go back to our guests. And Jenny, what is your favorite place for lunch?
One of my favorite places for lunch is an Animal Kingdom at Yak and Yeti. If you guys caught on, I ordered gluten-free beignets. I have food issues, so I have to be very careful about where I eat and what I eat. And sometimes at home, I'm not so careful, but when I'm on vacation, I'm really, really strict because I don't want to end up in the room.
Right.
So they have an amazing gluten-free options. And my favorite thing that they have, though, is their gluten-free sweet and sour chicken.
Ooh.
It's one of those dishes that it's a simple dish, but you cannot tell that they have substituted some of the ingredients to make it the gluten allergy friendly that they do. It tastes like regular sweet and sour chicken.
Wow.
And that's where a lot of my complaint is from, is because I have at home made my recipes work where it tastes like you can't tell the difference.
Nice.
A lot of places at Disney is not so much, but the sweet and sour chicken is just spot on with how it should taste. It's so good. I will eat every single morsel on my plate.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Now, if I'm going off what I'm supposed to be eating, they also have a mango pie and these pineapple cream cheese fried wontons that are amazing. They serve it with vanilla ice cream.
Wow.
It's just so good.
Sounds it.
Getting really hungry now.
If I'm going to eat that, I have to do it for supper so we can go back to the resort. But, if you're looking, it was surprisingly how good those desserts were, because you don't expect a place like Yak and Yeti to have really amazing dessert.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. Now you're making me hungry by your description of that food. That sounds wonderful for sure. So that's great. What a wonderful choice. I can't wait till we get there, because we have to go try that.
I know. I have to say that's one of the restaurants we haven't tried yet. So looking forward to it.
Oh, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So this trip, we are not duplicating any places we've ever eaten at before.
Wow.
Nice.
Everywhere we're eating is going to be new, and we're even going to try new snack carts and stuff.
Ooh.
And it was hard to not put Yak and Yeti
Yeah.
on
Oh,
our
sure.
list because all 4 of us love it. So
Yeah.
much.
Ah, wow. Good
It's
to
our
know.
go-to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a great. Well, I definitely have to check that place out. Love
Yeah,
that. Great description.
Definitely, Tom.
Definitely. So, Trent, what is your favorite spot to get some lunch when you're at the parks or resorts?
This one's going to surprise everyone, even the listeners, everybody, because I call this one a hole in the wall, pretty much because nobody gives it love but Trent. So this place, well, maybe Jenny too. I think she likes this place as well. But just a side note, we haven't seen our list here, so
Yeah,
these are
so
all.
I'm not sure where he's
All
from.
right.
So just for the facts here, yes. So this hole in the wall is in Epcot. It's in the China Pavilion, and it's called Nine Dragons.
Oh, I
yeah.
love Nine Dragons.
Now, what I eat there is the same dish over and over again because it's so yummy. It is the Kung Pao chicken.
Oh, yeah.
With the peanuts and the dried chili peppers. And
Nice.
It is amazing.
Yes.
And the price is great. It's only like $17.
Right.
It's really, really inexpensive, but it's good. But nobody ever eats there. Everybody that we talk to, they walk right past it with their nose in the air. No. Snubbing it.
Yeah. On a side note, they have a great allergy menu as well. Like you cannot tell that it's substituted. So if you're looking for, more of an authentic taste, that they're dead on with their allergies.
And it reminds me a lot of, if you have these like close to your house, those PF Chang's. It reminds me a lot of PF Chang's. It's really good, but nobody eats there because it's like one of those little kind of hidden gems. But I like it because you can walk in and get a table because it's not full.
Right.
And it's just one of those little hole in the walls. And to me, I'm not a big lunch guy, so this is perfect place for me to grab lunch, and it's cost effective, being only $17 plus your tax, whatever it is. And I love it there. It's got a great setting. And then if you're with Jenny, the chef comes to the table.
Wow.
And
we let me just on a side note, the year that Trent went to D23, he was hanging out with one of his friends, and the friend's wife was eating with me and the girls, and she said, I feel like a celebrity. Like every restaurant, even quick service, the chef or a manager, someone comes out and talks to you.
Nice.
Like they're really good about that. But we had a lot of fun with the chef at Nine Dragons. He was very, very funny and friendly, and he was great.
Oh,
yes,
that's
and
awesome.
that's because of her food allergies, because they have to cook these things separately from the other food. So they come to the table and talk to her and all that kind of stuff.
And if there's something like whatever I wanted, they're like, we can't do that for you, but I can make this dish, which would be similar and use this other sauce. So they kind of made me my own special dish because what I wanted didn't exactly fit into my criteria.
Very nice.
That is nice.
We've noticed recently Disney's really upped their game and getting out there and making sure when you're first ordering, asking if there are any food allergies. Even when you're just checking in for any of the restaurants, they're asking if you have any food allergies and really trying to be very careful with everybody out there because it can get tricky and you can get caught up in doing things at the park, get caught up in, taking care of the kids or whatever.
Right.
Maybe forget, to mention it to somebody. So it's good that they, take the lead on that.
Yeah. And,
exactly.
and how they have it on the app now, you can, if you scroll down past the main menu, you start seeing the different menus related to food allergies.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they've done that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I love those choices.
Yes. Well, we've actually been there.
We've been
and
there.
Yeah, and that was
Enjoyed
the dish I've gotten a couple times now. That's a great place to go if you're going for the Candlelight Processional because it's one of the best prices. And like you said, you can get in it. I know that one time I was taking my mom and it was kind of a last minute decision to go and it was hard finding reservations and we got in there no problem.
Nice. So we just love the China Pavilion in general.
Yes.
It's just a great spot to
Me too.
kind of relax.
And I've heard a lot of people say, well, the food is just I mean, it's kind of general and generic. You can find places around town that sell something similar, which is true for a lot of their dishes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going with a large group
Mm-hmm.
and you're having to feed 8 or 9 different people with 8 or 9 different tastes and 8 or 9 different personalities, like sometimes
Right,
you need a place that can accommodate everybody and that is general enough that everyone's going to find something they enjoy.
Right.
Yep,
That's a good point. Very good point.
Right.
So, Michelle, where is your favorite spot for lunch? I'm interested to hear this.
So my favorite spot and the timing of it would all depend on what we did for breakfast and how big of a breakfast we had. But I really like going to the Grand Floridian at their Garden View Tea Room for afternoon tea. And whether it's, right around noontime or if we've had a big breakfast or a brunch, then, pushing it a little later. But they have such a cute afternoon tea service. And it's just really quaint. It's a great way to get, one, out from the heat. So you're going into this really cool place. Literally and figuratively cool. And they have, it's just such a Victorian British look to it, and the china and everything and the whole ambiance. And you just feel like, okay, I can chill. I can regroup so that I can get my energy back to go out there and have some more fun. And so it's just so nice of an area to go to. And so what you do is each person can get their own little teapot, and you can have your own tea selection, each person. And so it could be, they have like a ton. They have black teas, green tea, floral teas. And then they bring you like a plate that has little tea sandwiches. And I remember the first time doing this, I'm thinking, well, that doesn't seem like much. But then when, you're consuming that with the tea, and then they bring you dessert, you can either have pastries or English trifle. And you end up feeling pretty satisfied because they'll refill your teapot. You can, even if you didn't like your tea, you can change it to another kind. They're really flexible with things like that. And it's just, like I said, it's quiet, it's quaint, and a real fun way to get rejuvenated.
Right. It's a really nice way if you're regularly go to the parks. If you take an afternoon, or if you're just doing a resort day, trying to take a break from the parks a little bit, just to kind of get away and have a moment just for a little bit of peace out there. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a nice spot for sure.
It is. And they, even for kids, they have like the Mrs. Potts tea party. And so they'll have like chocolate milk instead of tea in the teapot, and their sandwich is a little more kind of the style that kids would like, rather than some of the food choices that they give for the adults.
They also do an afternoon tea with the princesses.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been able to do it, but I've heard about it, and I've heard it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds great. Does sound great. I've seen pictures of it. We've never done it either, but it does sound great.
Yeah,
absolutely. So good choice. I like doing that one too. That's one of my favorite spots to take a breath during the middle of a trip somewhere. My spot's going to go completely different. I'm going into the Magic Kingdom, and I'm going to splurge a bit on my lunch. I'm going to the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen, just because I love the carryover of the theming straight from the Jungle Cruise in there. They even crack the same or similar corny jokes as they're taking you to your table. The servers crack the same similar style of corny jokes, and the food is just it's diverse and interesting and different than what you'll see in a lot of other locations. And it's a lot of lighter fare. Yes, it's a little pricey, but the food doesn't ever feel too heavy for you. It feels like a good lunch break. It's nice and air conditioned in there. It's relaxing. And my favorite thing, everybody's going to think I'm crazy because most people are scared of this dish. People are fearful of their food looking back at them. I love the whole fried fish. You give me that whole fried fish and a glass of Chardonnay, or a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, and I am a happy camper for the rest of the day. I'm telling you. So, if you haven't ever been there, it's a lot of fun. They have great dishes for the kids as well. And again, like I said, if you like the Jungle Cruise, if you like some of that corny, over-the-top humor, it carries right over into this lunch, and it's a great spot to stop at.
It's actually, we've never tried it. We have gone over the menu many times, and we have looked at pictures of the food many times.
Yep.
But 3 of the 4 of us me not included in this, are somewhat particularly picky. Mm-hmm. So they have not worked their courage up to trying there yet.
It looks very intimidating.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, as far as food, looking at us, we do crawfish bowls all the time.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. You know, the kids actually play with the live crawfish beforehand. I guess that makes it a little less.
Because they don't name them. We're eating Charlie over here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Racing them.
Well, it's one of our favorite spots, and we went there not that long after they originally opened it, and we've just fell in love with it, and it's a must hit for us most times.
Yeah.
We go.
I mean, I'm sure if you talk to them and, again, talk to the chef, and they will customize some things. And, I don't like things too spicy. I don't, and so sometimes I feel like, I'm also fearful at times, but I've found their dishes to be really good. And yes, some of them are unusual, but it's like, oh, wow, this does taste great,
So.
Good to know.
Yeah. And they have, they have like 3 rooms. Mm-hmm. So the first one is like their main area. And if you've been in to be our guest, it's kind of like that same kind of concept. Your first entryway, first room is giant and it's loud and it's fun. But if you're kind of wanting a smaller, more intimate area, they have a couple other rooms there that you can ask to be seated in. And those are pretty fun.
Yeah, just like a beer guest, your experience will change depending on which dining room you're sitting in as far as what you appreciate about that restaurant. So we would always suggest that you take one of those side rooms, ask for one of the side rooms if you don't mind waiting a little longer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. So those are our lunch tips. Let's get to dinner or supper, as the case may be, and find out what our guests like for supper on their trips. Jenny.
That's right.
Where do you go for supper? What's your favorite spot?
For supper, I am hanging out in Epcot in the Moroccan Pavilion because I love it so much.
I know this one.
And I am eating at Restaurant Marrakesh. I almost picked Spice for a Table. I think that's what it's called because they actually, if you're eating off the allergy menus, they have more options than Restaurant Marrakesh. Oh. But I am either going to get one of 2 things. They have roasted lamb with the vegetable rice or their beef shish kebabs with the veggie rice. And then as a side, the gluten-free bread and their hummus is amazing. Everything there is just so good. I love the food. I love the atmosphere. I love the belly dancers. I love it all.
And the band?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we ate there for the first time on our last trip, as a matter of fact, and we had a great time. We really enjoyed it.
We brought some family. There were 2 boys, ages 10 and 12, who had never been to Walt Disney World. Their parents hadn't been since they were like young teenagers.
At least, around that same age. Yeah.
And so we thought that would be a fun place to bring them, and it seemed to be quite a good hit.
Yeah. Everybody enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah.
So I love that choice.
Yeah,
That's
good
great.
choice.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
It's not mine, but I kind of go with the flow.
Yeah. Trent and the girls were just like, this is okay. But since we've eaten there, like the first time we brought the girls, they didn't really eat hummus or really anything like that. But they have one of their favorite things now is hummus and chips or hummus and carrots and stuff like that. So they're starting to kind of venture out. So I'm hoping not this trip because we're doing all new, but maybe next trip, everyone will be up to trying it again because they say scientifically your taste buds change every 7 years. So just because you didn't like it doesn't mean you won't this time.
Just keep that hope alive. I'm not sure.
The hope is alive. If not, I will make myself a reservation and y'all can go eat somewhere else.
Perfect.
I'll be like a table for one or just put me with whatever family has an extra spot.
That's right.
Right. Okay. Well, that's kind of, when they have like the Food and Wine Festival or the Arts Festival and things like that you can do little tasting dishes throughout the park, and you don't really have to sit in one place. You can kind of walk around and try different things.
It's always a good time at all the festivals for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we're actually thinking we might hit Spice Road Table up this next trip when we're going to be there in December. So that might be fun.
It's on our list for if we're at a park at night and want to just, because it is a quick service.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on our quick service list of places that we want to actually get a meal at.
Yep,
so it might happen this year. if we're hungry, because we did all of our ADRs for around 1:30 so that we could have a bigger lunch and then just kind of chill the rest of the afternoon.
That
Right.
makes sense. Yeah,
Nice.
like that plan. Trent, I'm interested to hear what you have as your favorite supper spot. Let's hear Trent's spot.
Well, what's funny, Tom, is Jenny and I both have some of the same ideas and those same loves, but that's not what she just said. Trust me, that's not my answer. So let's not do that one. So I'm referring to her lunch pick. So I'm going to Animal Kingdom, to Asia, and I'm going to Yak and Yeti because
Nice.
I like the atmosphere at night versus lunch.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm getting that sweet and sour chicken. I love the chicken, the ginger, the garlic, the bell peppers, the pineapple with jasmine, or your brown rice.
Nice.
For a whole whopping of $19. It's not that badly priced.
All right.
It's
But
not bad at all.
I love it there. I love being on the second floor is my favorite area.
It's nice
good to
eating up
know.
there.
It's more intimate, in my opinion. I love it there. Just the whole theming and the cast members there. Not that they aren't everywhere else, but they are just so awesome there. They're very accommodating.
Yeah.
And I love the tables and the big wooden chairs.
Ooh.
And
if you're mobility impaired and want to eat on the second floor, they have an elevator.
yes.
Oh,
So
good
it's
to
not
know.
just the stairs.
Right.
So I recommend the second floor just because I like it there. It's in my opinion more intimate than the first floor. The first one's more busy and it's a lot of stuff going on. But up there, it's a little bit more quieter to
Nice.
things, and you can hold a conversation and enjoy each other's company with a fabulous meal.
Nice.
Nice. Love that. That's
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
great
That's
choice.
so funny. You even picked the same food I'm eating.
That's awesome.
He didn't pick dessert though. I'm not sharing mine.
I'm right there with you, Jenny. And I'm not sharing my dessert either. I get you. Michelle, let's get to your pick for dinner spots at the Walt Disney. Or
All right.
At the Disney resorts, I guess.
Right. Disney. Okay. So I know I'm notorious for having
Oh, here we go.
for cheating and having two selections. So
Surprised it actually took this long, to be
I
honest
know,
with you.
right? So for dinner, supper, I grew up calling it supper all the time too. That's so funny. If we were there today, I have a selection for today. But if we were there from August 29th on, I would have a different dinner selection.
Why is that? Yes. Is that because you've sampled something
Yes.
from a place that's going to be opening on August 29th out
That's
there?
right.
Yes.
So if we were there today, between today and August 29th, I love going to the Brown Derby at Disney Hollywood Studios and just getting a simple, their tomato soup. It's a roasted tomato soup and their world famous Cobb salad. And that just, it's a nice thing to have. It's not too heavy, but you feel very satisfied. And it's a great way to end the evening by not having some over the top food.
Very nice. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Nice.
And from August 29th on,
From August 29th on, also in the Disney Hollywood Studios Park would be Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. And I would get the Ithorian Garden Loaf, which is a plant-based meatloaf. And it comes with like a vegetable potato mash, and then some other side vegetables and a mushroom sauce. And we tried this at Disneyland at the Galaxy's Edge out here. And you could not tell the difference of that not being real meatloaf. It was delicious, and then you felt good that, hey, this is pretty healthy eating too. On top of
Okay,
it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you eaten at 50's Prime Time and
Yes.
gotten their meatless meatballs?
No, I haven't gotten that there.
Oh, see, I'm wondering if it's a similar, because I got the meatless meatballs with gluten-free pasta and sauce, and you could not tell that those
Wow.
meatballs
Right.
weren't. I mean, I'm not a big meat fan. I don't eat a lot of it. So for me, it was really, really good. So I'm wondering if it's a similar taste because the texture and everything was pretty dead on too.
Right.
Could be with the development of the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger and stuff. They've really taken a step forward in vegetable, plant-based meats that really have the same texture and the same mouthfeel, the same flavors that you really hardly know you're not eating a burger. And that way, I guess it would make the sense that they're probably using something very similar for this meatloaf. This plant-based meatloaf. But I had some of hers too, and it's delicious.
It is delicious.
You would hardly know that it was not.
I might have to put that because we have a Hollywood Studios day with no meals planned because we want to try out some of the Star Wars grub. So I might put that on my mental list of things to try.
There you go. Yes. And it's fun there. The cast members are just amazing how they are so immersive also in the experience, and they don't call anything money, they call it credits and stuff, and we've tried several different dishes at their different restaurants and fast food, and this was really the best one.
It was really good. Definitely liked it. I liked the Ronto roaster too, but that was really good. It wasn't as big a thing for you, but I liked it a lot.
It was very greasy.
I liked it. It was good. Sausage with some coleslaw. It was good. It was good. All in a wrap. I loved it. My kind of thing. All right. So for my supper, I'm going to go back to, the same general vicinity of a place I've already visited that I've already talked about. And there are a lot of places I love to have dinner at the parks, at the resorts. But there's one place that's really special to me for a very particular reason. And that is back at the Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campgrounds. And it's P&J's Southern Takeout. And there's a reason for this. It's kind of been our tradition. We stay at the cabins fairly often. It's the one place we're Disney Vacation Club members, but when we're not staying Vacation Club, a lot of times we like to stay at the cabins there. We enjoy it there. And usually it's like a tradition for us. Our very first night there, we have groceries delivered or we have, some stuff planned out, but we don't make any plans for that very first night. We will go hit P&J's Southern Takeout and go pick up their fried chicken meal. And it is just tradition for me. It says, you're back, you're home, you're back at the Walt Disney World Resort. It welcomes me back in with a hearty meal. And I don't eat a lot of fried chicken. I don't eat a lot of fried chicken at home. I could cook it up very easily, but it's just not something that we eat regularly. So it's just kind of one of these things that is so welcoming to me and tells you you're back on vacation, you're back there. And so I enjoy it. But this place, they also have, they have great pizzas, they have burgers, they have ribs, lots of different stuff. And my favorite thing is to get their fried chicken. And is it the best fried chicken ever? Probably not, but it just hits the right spot at the right time for me. So that's why I enjoy it so much.
So you're brave. I don't.
Wow.
I guess because we have such good fried chicken here that if we're not like in the South, I mean, I know Disney is like Florida is a Southern state, but it's not like what I can. It's not the South to me. Like I don't eat fried chicken.
I totally understand that. Believe me. And like I said, I don't necessarily believe it's the best fried chicken. It's just the fact that one, I don't eat it a lot. I tend to stay away from a lot of fried foods when we're at home. But yeah, this is something, and again, it's something that welcomes me to the resort, and again, I know that it's not that I have many better dinners when I go there, but
so
it's just about the feeling of having it.
What sides do they offer?
Also,
what sides are you getting with it?
Oh, what sides? They always have cornbread with it. Yeah, usually
coleslaw is pretty good.
Coleslaw is pretty good. Mashed potatoes are really good. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. But I try and usually stay pretty traditional with it, with maybe some mashed potatoes, gravy, and coleslaw.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like it down here somewhat, but
macaroni and cheese.
They have macaroni and cheese as well.
Yeah.
You could get that
red
if you
beans
want.
and rice.
Corn.
Yeah, white beans.
They have corn. Yeah, all that stuff. They have. Again, I'm sure not as good as what you would normally have, but there's just something about it for me that strikes a chord with me every time I go. So that's why it's kind of my favorite spot. Were we going to do desserts, or were we going to stick with breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I think breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snack.
Okay, well then we got snacks. Then let's go to snacks. And I know that Jenny has a snack because she teased it beforehand that she's got some secret snack that she's excited to tell us about that she likes to have.
It's not even like it's a hard to get snack or anything like that, but I love Disney's frozen bananas. They are bananas dipped in chocolate. You can get them with or without peanuts on outside.
Right.
There's just something about them that I would sit and eat if I could. I limit myself to one at a time, but they are just, it's one of those foods that there's this grocery store. It's like this, we call it the Mexican grocery store. I don't know what its real title is, but they sell food and they also have groceries. But they started selling frozen bananas as well. And they're really good, but they're not like Disney's frozen bananas.
Right.
Like when I have one of those, I'm like, yes, I have made it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's especially refreshing on a hot, as hot as it can get out there and everything, something like that. And you don't feel as bad about it because you're eating fruit, even though it's chocolate dipped and nuts and whatever else on it.
Yeah. It's just one of those desserts. I had it on our honeymoon, and it's one of there and Restaurant Marrakesh are the only two things that I even remember eating from our honeymoon was those two, that place, and then the frozen bananas. They were that good. It left that much of an impression.
Nice.
Memorable. All right.
Yes, it was that memorable.
All right.
Nice.
All right, good.
It's
Glad
also
to know, Jenny. I appreciate that.
It's one of the things, and I think I was talking about a little bit with my chicken. It's like, food, so much of why you enjoy food is they bring back memories of having it at some certain time in your life. And that is a big part of it. And, having this on your honeymoon or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's part of those things that make you love these dishes so much.
Yeah. And I know we ate other places and we did other things on our honeymoon. I just don't remember what it was.
It was because you love the Caribbean beach resort so much.
Nice.
That's another story in itself.
Oh, boy. We'll have to get that story at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It has a Miami Vice thing to it, but we'll go to that part down the road.
We'll tell you off there.
All right. Can't wait.
I love it. Juicy stuff that you people aren't going to get to hear.
Right.
I grade it. That's great. So, all right, so Trent.
Dessert?
Well, it's dessert, snack, whatever you want to call it.
Snack.
Or my snack, whatever. Okay, so this one, I can't think of this little place, but I'll give you the best description of where it is and what it is. So if you go over Main Street and you go left into our favorite Adventureland, you cross the bridge.
Isn't that like Aloha Isle or something like that?
Yes, right there. There's like a little stand where you can get your Dole Whips, and if you get it at a certain time, you get to meet Peter Pan right there in the little covered area.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems like an odd location for Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Yes. We did not know that Peter Pan was meeting there. Like, we were just eating Dole Whips, hanging out, and he showed up one day.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this is cool.
It's right there by Jungle Cruise and Magic Carpets of Aladdin. It's like right there by and it's just right across that bridge, and it's to the right. And I love that little stand because you can get your Dole Whip right there. There's hardly any ever like a
super
wait
long line
or anything. Yeah, it's
unless
awesome.
you ask Sophia, and then it's like, oh, we waited in line maybe 5 minutes last trip, and she was like, we have been here at least 10 years. I mean, she was being so dramatic
She
about
wanted
it.
her snack, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
You get hangry. I get it.
That's right. Exactly
Yeah,
right.
she was hangry.
But that's a cool place, though. That's where you get your Dole Whip and meet Peter Pan, and it's just a great spot. And it's also my favorite
It's
place. I love it.
covered, so it's out of the shade as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
And there's usually a nice breeze right there. So it's kind of a place you can relax a little bit.
It's a hidden gem.
Yes.
Definitely one of the spots we hit up regularly.
Definitely,
as
yes.
well. We are big Dole Whip fans.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
Love it.
speaking of that, let's get to Michelle's snack.
Well, it's funny because I guess we're all going with kind of frozen treats here. Mine, I rarely do it. It's one of those. It's a special occasion. Typically, when like if Scott's with us or whatever is
Our
doing,
son.
Our son Scott is doing the kitchen sink Sunday.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, we don't usually eat the whole thing.
Sure you don't.
It's usually more just the experience of getting that and the look on his face when we get it and everything. He just lights up, and it's
That's
precious.
more than a snack.
It
for
is
sure.
more than a snack. It's more, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said, we share it. But that's one of those just precious moment kind of times.
Right. Love it.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's funny. That's classic. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
As for me, I would normally, normally if I was just going to name one, but since it's already been named, I'm not going to go with it again. But Dole Whip all day long. I love it. I love it so much. I love it on both coasts. It's great for me. I'm going to go a little bit differently because Dole Whip has already been taken by Trent there. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bars, which you can get throughout the parks. You can get them at your resorts, at the little shops there if you want. You can get them on Disney Cruise Line delivered right to your room for no extra cost.
Right.
It's one of the greatest things about Disney Cruise Line.
Nice.
I love the Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bars a lot. It's a lot of times will be my dessert at the end of the evening.
Right.
Just pick one of those up as you're heading back to your room or whatever and just kind of finish one of those. I love it.
Yeah, and if you get them inside the resort, their stores there, then your annual pass discount applies.
Yes.
It doesn't when you're in the
nice.
Yeah, it doesn't when you're in the park, but when you're at one of their stores, you get your annual pass discount.
Right. Or if you're a D23 member
Right,
or
whatever.
a DVC
Yeah.
member or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's
Even
my
better.
favorite thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have your Mickey bar and save a little money on it
Right.
as well. So
So I have a question for y'all. I mean, you named some really great places and some awesome food. If you were to pick a place, not necessarily because of the food, but because of the ambiance, do you have a different location?
Wow. Here we go. On the spot.
Yeah.
Michelle throwing a curveball your way.
Yeah. Jenny, I can see her
I
thinking.
really enjoyed at Port Orleans Riverside. I did not enjoy the food, but we ate at Boat Rights, and I enjoyed the atmosphere. Our waiter was okay, but the hostess was great. It very much felt like eating at a local place
Right.
Yeah.
until you got the food, and then you knew you were not in the South.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, can I go back there and fix that for you properly? You know, but
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Let me show you what Southern cooking really is. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it wasn't anything like over the top or anything like that. But for me, it felt very homey and like, it's very familiar and welcoming.
Right.
Well, for my answer, mine's going to be kind of generic and kind of plain. I don't know, maybe, but we'll see. I like this because I just love the whole atmosphere, and I like to be our guest at dinner because I like taking the picture with Beast, but I like being in that main room.
And see, that's not, if I'm going for atmosphere, it's not going to be there because for me, it's too overcrowded. There's too much noise.
Well, let me explain why, though. It's not for myself, really. This is where I take a step back and I watch everyone else. I like watching the young kids, especially the young girls wearing their bell dresses and just pretending like they're in the story or they're eating in the castle.
Right.
And to see their faces and their families are just so like over the moon, excited and fun. Even our girls get that way too. And
Sure.
I just like being in there, and it's decorated so wonderfully. Now, if it was just the two of us, maybe, go and get some really nice restaurant, maybe in Disney Springs somewhere. But as a family for the four of us, I think, besides Jenny just saying, I like Be Our Guest because it's themed awesome. I mean, it just has, you feel like you're in the castle.
Yeah. No, that is true. Their attention to detail is just so spectacular, and it does allow all the guests in there to get immersed into that.
No question.
Exactly. And one more thing too is, if you haven't noticed, I love Magic Kingdom. I can just stay there all day, all night, sleep there in the castle. I mean, I could do that. I wish I could.
Right.
But I just like soaking in Magic Kingdom. That is to me my favorite park out of all four of them. I just love hanging out there day and night, especially nighttime, because it's so beautiful and it's lit up. And I love going to the parks at night.
We will agree to disagree.
There you go.
Which what makes your show so great is that
Yes, I'm Epcot, 100%. Epcot's my favorite.
Well, if you ever, I don't know if y'all have ever done a tour or anything like that, but like the Keys to the Kingdom tour, you won't leave there without shedding a tear or two. But
that's what I want.
Yeah, it is so filled with heart and the appreciation for what this park is and how much it gives to everybody who goes there, and I know people have a lot of comments about the company and prices and everything, but there really isn't anything as magical as going there and being able to just release everything else going on in the world and just having a great time, either whether you're by yourself or with your family or spouse or whatever. It is, when you say magical, I mean, I know that that's overused, but I do feel it's so appropriate.
It's definitely appropriate, and there's no question about it.
Absolutely. Well, for me, just one more thing is I have to say this. Magic Kingdom to me is special because, when you get on that main street and you see that castle and that partner statue, everybody says they're home. And it's true. I mean, because I immediately start the eye sweats. I immediately have a shade of a tear or two. It's the shows. It's everything there is.
Right.
And I just wish Walt was around to see it for himself. I think he'd be so proud of what it is today.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No question. I totally agree with you, Trent. I get the emotion there for sure, because we get that way too whenever we walk into the Magic Kingdom for the first time. Just the way they lay it out, just like they did at Disneyland Park as well. The way you come in from under the train station, and then it all opens up in front of you with Main Street USA leading to the partner statue and the castle and everything. It's just it is spectacular every single time. It doesn't matter how many times you go. Every single time you visit.
Right. I used to live in Florida and would I lived more southern, but I would go to Florida. I mean, go to Magic Kingdom or Disney World a lot, and to this day, I can't walk in there and not get a lump in my throat for every time I go into that park.
Yep, it's all the it's just like the thing I was talking about with food, the memories. It's all the memories of what you've done in the past there, all the great times you've had with family and friends, and again, what you're about to do, all the great times you're about to have with your family and friends as well. It's really, really something special.
I always refer to it as making memories that last a lifetime.
Right.
That's what it's about, and I cherish those moments, especially with my kids. I mean, just taking that step back as a parent and just watching their faces. I mean, just glowing with fun and excitement. And we all do it. So.
Yeah. And I bet you're glad that Jenny likes getting the photo pass then.
Absolutely. Because we get like thousands of pictures.
Right?
Thousands of pictures.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think for every photo pass picture taken, I take 3 on my phone.
I mean, thousands of them.
Nice.
Yeah. We have so many pictures and just photo pass and our own. We have so many pictures.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, sweetie, do you have a restaurant that you would, or a place to eat that you would go for the ambiance maybe more so than the food?
That's interesting. I kind of like over at the Wilderness Lodge, Geyser Point over there, where you just kind of have some nice tables just out by the waterside, out by Bay Lake there. It's just kind of a nice place, shady place to kind of sit back, have a little food, have a drink, and just kind of look over the water and see it all. And I just it's just a nice breath to take. There's lots of places that have great ambiance and we can only talk about what's happening on August 29th and the ambiance that's coming to there, because we've experienced that in Disneyland, and it's insane. You won't believe it when you finally get to experience it for yourselves. But that place is just a little different. It's just very relaxing and enjoyable. What about you?
I guess I have kind of a toss-up, but if I had to narrow it down to one, I still enjoy the Sci-Fi Diner. The food is good. It's just funny just to be in there and watch those old films, and especially when the cast members kind of make fun and poke about the films and things like that too. It's just a fun ambiance.
Yeah, that is a good spot. I agree. I agree.
Love it there.
So we have one other round.
Oh, we do?
Yes, we have our bucket list, or where you want to go.
Oh, I've forgotten that one. Okay, bucket list.
I'm ready for this one.
Bucket list. Okay, I'm sorry I skipped over that. Yeah, go ahead. Bucket list.
All right, so I guess
Jenny.
we'll start with Jenny.
Okay, one of my bucket list places is Le Cellier, so we're in Canada. And I already know what I'm going to get. I would like medium rare filet mignon, and I would like my side to be very specific. It needs to be steamed broccoli, lightly salted, and I would like 2 or 3 lemon wedges because I like to put fresh lemon juice on my broccoli.
Cool.
With my steak.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's what I'm going for.
Nice.
I like it. That's a great answer.
That
I love
is.
that one.
Yeah.
Great. I love this specificity to it.
Right.
It's really, really nice. Yeah. I love that.
Whenever our local steak place around here, when we go and eat, I always get the same thing. And I'm like, it's because they started cooking their sides differently. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do you have steamed broccoli? And she was like, yeah, we can still steam it. So I was like, okay, I need it steamed, lightly salted, lemon wedges on the side.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
What a great choice. Trent, how about you?
I'm going to surprise everyone on this show and listening because this place is absolutely brand new. And you're thinking like, what in the world is he talking about? So let's do a little bit of little fun here. What was just recently finished being built is the Grand Destino Tower over at Coronado Springs Resort. They have a restaurant called Toledo. And it's on the rooftop, and it has tapas, steak, and seafood. And I'm going to get, off their menu, which I have it right here in front of me, is the hanger steak. It's crushed with new potatoes and some sort of salsa greens and some charred peppers, and looks absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
And I want to try this out because, long story short, we got to watch this tower being built on a trip past where we only got to see it from the fourth floor because they only had 4 floors of this thing built.
Oh, wow.
So we got to watch it be from steel beams and concrete to this glorious new tower now that we actually want to go check out now. So on our trip this year, we might have to swing by there and check it out because I'm fascinated because it looks amazing from the pictures I've seen online.
Right.
Wow, it sounds great. Yeah, I've seen the pictures do look great.
Right,
That place looks spectacular.
It
I know
does.
Michelle was just out there last winter staying nearby, and she got to see some of the tower going up there.
Right,
It really
right,
was looking fantastic.
Yeah. And
Looks gorgeous.
I love their restaurants that are, rooftop kind of places. They are just they add to the ambiance and usually can get some great views up there, whether it's overlooking parks or seeing fireworks or whatever. They know how to, strategically place those.
Yeah, we just we're going to be staying at the Riviera once that opens up here in December when we go out, and we got reservations at their rooftop place, Topolino's, which we're excited about. So looking to see how that shakes out as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Michelle, what's your bucket list?
Okay, my bucket list is also very new. In fact, I was worried Trent had the same one, and I was like, oh no, am I going to be able to come up with another one on the fly? But I'm glad we both like different, we've come up with some other ideas so we can share more things of what's out there. My bucket list, and because of, I think some of the costs is going to be, something like really a bucket list item, is attending the chef's table at Epcot's newest signature dining restaurant in the Japan Pavilion. And it's called Takumi Te. I think I said that right.
Something like that.
Takumi.
Close enough.
Yeah.
We'll let it fly.
Right. I mean, they just opened this month, and in fact, they only started taking reservations this past week.
Right.
But it has the restaurant has 5 different rooms, and they kind of go with the natural elements of water, wood, earth, stone, and paper. And they do have where you can order at that restaurant off the menu, or you can get a fixed price menu. But if you get this, if you get to the chef's table, which is even a little bit more, that's a 9-course, and not that I need that much food. But we've done a chef's table on a cruise, and it was just amazing. It's a small group usually there, and they have a lot of attention to the detail. The chef is really trying to showcase special things, so I can only imagine that this would be spectacular. And then the funny thing is that this one also ends with a traditional tea service, and tea has an important part in my life. It's something my mom and I as adults started appreciating and loving and sharing with each other. And so to experience the traditional Japanese tea service, which I've only heard about and read about in terms of, the delicacy of it, the number of steps it takes, and how precise everything is, I just think it would be amazing to experience that part of the meal as well at the end.
Very nice. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, again, if money is no
Right.
Yeah.
definitely. And I'm going to go follow you with something similar, and I'm going to go, and I'm just totally going off the cuff here because I obviously didn't know this was coming. I'm going to go with Victoria and Albert's and the chef's table there and go very traditional. And I have chef training myself, so I understand a little bit of it, but these guys are incredible, the stuff that they do there. I love when the chef will take you on a journey throughout a meal of exploring their vision of food and what they think you'll enjoy and what's fresh and what's seasonal. And I know Victoria and Albert's does a masterful job of that. And again, money has to be no problem to do that. That is ridiculous.
Right.
Expensive. We got lucky enough to do on a Disney cruise to do Remy on a Disney cruise. And one of the chefs that does Victoria and Albert's handles half of that menu there. And we got to experience some of that, a little piece of that food there. And it was one of the best dining experiences we've ever had.
I've never eaten anything so impressive as that experience. That was just over the top. I didn't think food could be that unbelievably great.
Mm-hmm. So,
wow.
Definitely
amazing.
Bucket list, and probably never do it, but really cool. So love that. Love everybody's choices for all these. It's fantastic, and I've found some things that I want to try now for sure.
I know, definitely.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
So Trent, Jenny, thanks again for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. We have fun with you every time we talk with you. We have so much fun with you on social media as well. I know that our listeners, if they haven't experienced you yet, would love your show. So please, would you tell the listeners how they can find your show and how they can follow you socially as well?
Okay, sure. First off, I love you guys. I'm trying not to get emotional because I love talking to you guys because you're so awesome. And thank you so much for having us on the show. And you can find us over in any of your podcasting apps. I mean, we're in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, all of those. But if you don't have any of those, you can also find us on our website at DisneyDNAPodcast.com, and you can listen to it there. Social media-wise, we're in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we're just in there, but I'm more on the Twitter side, and that's kind of my go-to platform. And Jenny kind of does what?
I kind of silently look at every post and occasionally respond.
Yeah, so it's mostly me posting.
Yeah, it's mostly Trent. I try to be better about social media. Even before we had the podcast, I haven't been super big into I do love talking to everybody though, and I try to, when I look at things, I try to go, I should, you comment in your head. Right. I'm trying to get better about actually commenting on stuff. So.
Yeah, so it's mostly me doing all of that.
It's mostly him. I'm
there.
silently standing in the corner reading it all.
She has those little strategic strikes there, like a little point here, a little point there.
So definitely check us out. Like I said, we also do a Facebook Live show on Tuesday nights on our Facebook page, and those are a lot of fun. People come into the chat box. We have fun topics, and also take that audio out and turn them into podcasts as a live show, and it's really, really fun. So we love to have you. I mean, just come on in.
Great stuff. Nice. And really, if you haven't heard their show, you really should check it out. They go through a wide array of topics, really are big Disney fans. They really enjoy it, and they just have a fantastic show. I think you'd agree, Michelle.
Oh, absolutely. And their passion shines through. And like I said, I am a big, huge Trent and Jenny fan. If you all haven't figured that out yet, I adore you folks. I am honored. I mean, even before the show today, it's like, I hope I do well because they are such wonderful people.
And thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. You all are great.
And here today at church, we learned about being humble. You're giving us all a big head. Thank you so much.
Well, you deserve it. You all deserve it. You do great work with your podcasts and your live show, which I am always amazed and impressed, and I don't think I could ever have the guts to do that. So kudos to both of you for that. But yes, you all have a wonderful show, and like I said, I just enjoy your take on things, and I enjoy learning from you all, which is really fun.
For sure.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, Jenny is part of we're doing the next race again this week, our hashtag virtual 5K. We're running on the 28th. If anybody is also doing any of this, we'd love to see your pictures out there. Jenny is taking part in this as well. She had
I've been pushing it on our, not pushing it, but I've been talking about it on our live shows and podcasts as well, hoping to get some more people out there running and I'm walking.
Well, especially in the heat and humidity you're in. I mean, I totally understand it completely. You are brave. I'm very impressed by you, Jenny, for sure.
And you can actually now sign up for the Star Wars virtual half marathon. That I think it's like $60 or something like that. I'm thinking about signing up for that and planning on running it and actually running most of it in February or March. If anyone else is signing up for that,
we'll sign up for that as well. We'll continue this virtual thing and have it be the virtual Star Wars half marathon or something along those lines. But we did that not last year, but the year before last as well, and that was a lot of fun. And it's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding. And the medal you get, at least one we got, was amazing.
I've never done a half. I've do a couple of 5Ks a year, and then I've done a couple of 10Ks. So this will be my first half. So
just go to the parks and walk around. You do about a half marathon every day when you go to the parks. That's great. We're having a lot of fun. And again, please listen to the Disney DNA podcast. Trent and Jenny, we love them so much. And if you get a chance, one, subscribe to them because you'll love them. But two, give them a review. Podcasters, we all flourish on reviews. It helps so many people discover new shows, and plus we just love to know what people think about the shows. I think you'd agree, Trent.
Yes, I definitely will, because it's great to just get everybody together and to help each other out and grow together as a community.
Absolutely. So, Trent, Jenny, thanks so much again for joining us. This isn't going to be the last time. We hope to be on your show again. We'd hope to bring you back on our show again sometime when the schedule works out, but we had a great time with you today.
It was fun, and thank you so much. And definitely, you will be back on ours really, really soon.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Trent and Jenny from the Disney DNA podcast. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you to Trent and Jenny, the Disney DNA podcast. You should really listen to them, subscribe, give them a review. They have a wonderful, wonderful and fun show.
Yeah, and they are the best and the sweetest people you could ever get to know. And they're also involved with us on social media. So, do follow them if you're not yet. But great folks.
Yeah, they're very active on social media. They have a great time. And yes, their whole family is wonderful. Hopefully at some point we're going to get to connect with them when we're out in the parks as well. But I'm sure we'll be getting on each other's podcasts here and there whenever we have the chance, because we both enjoy their company and they seem to enjoy ours. So nice. Let's move on to the Disney stories of the week. Every week there's so many Disney stories. We like to cover a few of them. We can't possibly cover them all, but we like to get to make a note on a few of them. And we're going to start this week with the fact that we went and saw the live action Lion King on Thursday night.
Yeah, that was exciting to see. I know that there was a lot of anticipation from my perspective, I think yours as well, of seeing this movie that, the original that we love and cherish so much, and now seeing it in a live action format.
So we're going to give this, it'll probably have some spoilers in there for this movie. I'm not going to spoil, or we're not going to spoil anything that is different from the original Lion King. The thing about this film is it's so shot for shot almost for the original Lion King that spoilers are kind of, they're irrelevant in this case.
Because it's not spoiling the plot.
Yeah.
And we won't spoil some other little extras.
Right. And anything that happened to be a little different, which is very little, we will not spoil that for you. But we may talk about a couple points that are regular things that if you've seen the original Lion King, that you'll know. If you want to completely avoid this, just skip ahead about 5 to 8 minutes or so from this podcast, and we'll move on with the Disney stories from there. But anyway, so we saw this movie on Thursday night, the very first opening night out here, and we were pretty excited to see. We went in with a little trepidation because of the fact that the reviews have not been spectacular for it, but we sat down and watched the movie, took it in for what it is, and I think for the most part, we actually kind of enjoyed it.
Right. And, it's a great story. Like I said before, we love the original storyline, and, having the return of James Earl Jones as Mufasa, was very, very exciting. I mean, I knew about it going in, but just having it happen was really cool.
So, yeah, exactly. So like I said, it was pretty much ended up being almost completely a shot-for-shot remake of the original. And it's actually one thing I kind of had as a strike against it is the fact that, you can say what you want about many of the Disney live action films. You like them, you don't like them. One of the things that they've done with virtually every one of them is that they've sort of expanded a little bit of the story. For example, in Cinderella, they've kind of given you a little more backstory to Lady Tremaine to kind of understand why she is the way she is. In Beauty and the Beast, they kind of gave you a little more backstory on Beast and Belle's, romance and some things that kind of led them to where there was this attraction there. This was pretty much shot for shot. They didn't do anything. I would have loved if they had done something that kind of reached back to the storyline of maybe Scar and Mufasa as cubs, essentially. Obviously Mufasa probably was the firstborn and most likely to be the heir to be the king of the Pride Lands. What was the story there? Scar talks about he was always a smart one and Mufasa always had the muscle or whatever. There was talk, of course, that there was a challenge at some point that Scar lost. I would have liked to have kind of seen that play out. Maybe just to add something a little different that kind of played out to why Scar has so much animosity towards Mufasa.
And it seemed like they were going to do that with, and again, we won't share any spoilers, but there was a point that I thought, oh, okay, good. They're going to go off in a little different direction here, expanding on something. But nope, they went right back to the the routine storyline that we know.
Right. So, but look at this movie. There's a couple things that disappointed me, and one was Be Prepared. I really thought that song is such a strong song in the original, and it was just kind of weak. It didn't have that punch to it in this movie, which kind of disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I understand with, the parts of having live action versus how they did it in the original, animated movie. But, it's funny looking at the trailers that are coming out from Mulan and some of the similar things in terms of how big and having a lot of, people or soldiers or whatever. It didn't seem to have that punch, like you said, with this one. And I don't know why that was limited like that.
Right. And I did, for the most part, actually like Scar. Give us some name night. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't know if I even got that close to right, but I really liked him actually as Scar. I thought he did a great job as Scar. I just wish that they could have done a better job with that song. And like I said, I would have loved to have seen some backstory involved with it.
Right. And the animals did look spot on, real. I mean, their movements, and that they, even though they all, like if you were looking at different lions, they all had a little different movement, just like you would expect to see in real life. But yeah, they definitely took a lot of effort to make those animals look so authentic.
The animation, the CG, the shot work, all the scenery were definitely a plus in this movie. It's a wow visual movie. It really is great to see. It's great on the screen. And I think that maybe some kids I wouldn't take really young kids to it because there is some violence. There is, some really dark and scary parts of this. But, kids around 7, 8 to 10 years old, I think they can really appreciate this movie and might actually, if they're not so into the original Lion King, might actually enjoy this film possibly a little more. I don't know.
True, because it's realism. That's true.
And it's new to them, more so. So they might enjoy it. I did like Timon and Pumbaa in it. I think Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen were hilarious. They took over whenever they were on the screen. They had some really excellent scenes. They were very funny. I totally enjoyed them. For the most part, like I said, here's the thing with this film to me, and I was thinking about this morning. Did this film need to be made? I don't know. It was okay. It was good. I enjoyed myself watching it, but I still think that it's not nearly as good as the original Lion King.
I would agree with that. And, kind of going back to your comment about little kids, I mean, I think the violent part is seeing animals fighting and looking so real, that could be disturbing to little ones like oh my God, when you, like, even as adults, when we see real animals fighting, like dogs or something like that, it can feel disturbing. And I could see a little kid feeling like that during this, that they probably wouldn't feel that way with the animated classic.
Agreed. I didn't think this film, and I think you mentioned it actually to me on the way out, and I agree with you that this film didn't quite hit the heart that the original did. There wasn't as much to it. There wasn't a strong feeling about it in many regards. But like I said, the one thing about it, though, is that I walked out of the theater and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed watching this movie. And I compare it to, this is what I was thinking about this morning. If you go to Broadway and you see a Broadway show, okay, and when you see a Broadway show on Broadway, that's the best it's ever going to be, almost certainly. So that is kind of the original Lion King. This kind of reminds me of like when we're in San Diego and we see a touring group do that exact same play.
Sure.
Is it good? Yes, it's good.
Right.
We enjoy ourselves. Is it as good as what the Broadway cast brought to it, as the original brought to it? Maybe not, probably not. And that's what I kind of think about this is it was very good. It's kind of a very good recreation of the original classic. It's not the classic, but it is enjoyable. You have a good time, just like we have a good time going to Broadway SD and checking out all those shows.
Sure. I think that's a really good and fair analogy of this movie. And, we would probably be saying the same things or same comments if we were looking at some of the other live actions that were released, if they didn't make, other not significant changes, but additions.
So that's kind of the way I feel about it, is that, yes, was it necessary? Probably not. We probably could have brought the actual Lion King back in the theaters and enjoyed that very much. The animation in that, the original music, the original cast in that is so magnificent. But this was a good time at the movies. I had a great time going and seeing this film, and it was nice to have a date night, as it always is with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
And so we just had a good time, enjoyed it for what it was. Don't go in there with too high expectations. It's not going to be better than the original. But if you just go in there looking to kind of enjoy the fun parts of it, take it for what it is, I think you will enjoy this film.
Agreed. And I think maybe some of my comments initially too were because I had the bar set a little higher than I probably should have. But like you said, it was still very enjoyable, still good to see. And I had another thought, but I've just lost it.
That happens. Happens to me all the time. Happens to me as I'm talking, usually, right in the middle of this show. I just can't help myself. It's usually some word that I'm trying. I knew I was going to say something, so I'll say something totally ridiculous. And that ends up being the whole podcast.
There you go. I remembered now.
Okay, that's why I was talking.
I know, because I was thinking of it when the first time you were talking there, or just before, I commented. There were a couple little Easter eggs or little special things that they added to the movie that I thought were brilliant and very enjoyable. And I think those pieces were great. I'm glad to see that they did some of them.
Yeah, I agreed. Like I said, we had a fun time at the movie. It wasn't. We're not talking this is an award-winning film. We're not talking this is one of the best live action films we've ever seen. We're not talking anything like that. But as far as just having, I gave it a solid C+, B-, but just for fun, and that's just as far as a film, but it still was fun. I had a good time.
Agreed.
Good time. So that is our review of the live action Lion King. We'd love to hear what you thought about it. If you saw it, what you felt about it, please hit us up on social media or email us or whatever, and maybe we'll talk about it on the next episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast.
That would be good.
That would be good. Let's move on to the rest of the Disney stories of the week. We'll stay in the live action film category, and there was some big news dropped yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, all dealing with Marvel.
I know. Exciting.
Yes. They've basically unloaded their full slate of movies on us. They're coming up in phase 4, and wow. And not only is it movies, it's also stuff on Disney Plus. Just a ton of stuff released.
Yeah, and a lot of great characters that they're going to be doing stories with, which is really exciting.
Yeah, new ones and ones that are already your favorite Avengers that have been in some of these films before. So let's just run down some of this stuff really quickly here. This straight from Marvel.com. Marvel Studios took the stage at Hall H yesterday to reveal the upcoming movies and TV shows from the studio, including the next chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what's planned for Disney Plus. So here's all the news that came out of Hall H. To kick things off, Marvel Studios president Kevin Kevin Feige announced Marvel Studios' The Eternals will come to theaters on November 6th, 2020. That stars Angelina Jolie, among others, and looks very interesting.
Yes.
That one's been rumored for a while, but now we got a confirmation and a date when that's coming out. Moving on, next up was the first show coming exclusively to Disney Plus, Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, of course, with Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan returning as their roles as the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that is going to be debuting on Disney Plus in the fall of 2020.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking it was going to take a little longer, so that's exciting.
Yeah. So looking excited for that. And they came out with the shield because now we know that Falcon is now actually the new Cap. Spoiler alert from, I guess, Avengers Endgame. A little late for that, but really cool stuff. Next up is a classic Marvel Comics character making his movie debut. Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, will hit theaters on February 12th of 2021. So that's coming up pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah. That's going to be cool stuff.
Yeah.
And, interesting to have. We're going to have our first Asian Marvel superhero. So that's
exactly.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's interesting stuff. Marvel Studios' WandaVision, an original series starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, will be reprising their MCU roles as Wanda Maximoff, of course, Scarlet Witch, and Vision, and that will arrive at Disney Plus in the spring of 2021.
So, yeah. I mean, I love those characters. I was really excited. I mean, like you said, a lot of these things, there was some things that were rumored ahead of time, but just getting the confirmation makes it really something to look forward to.
Right. And we're not done with Wanda. She's also going to be appearing in another show. We'll get to that in just a moment here. The MCU's favorite trickster, Loki, will make his debut on Disney Plus. The original series starring Tom Hiddleston, of course, Loki, who's played Loki in all the films. We'll see the God of Mischief causing even more trouble starting in the spring of 2021 on Disney Plus. So that I'm really excited about. I love Loki.
Right. That was the one that I was most excited about hearing announced officially, and I'm just sad that it's that far ahead of time, because it's like,
I wish it was coming out right here this November, right?
Ready for it.
Really would be excited for that. Also coming out, and we kind of knew that this is a possibility, but they confirmed it yesterday at Hall H. Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is what the title is going to be, and that's of course starring Benedict Cumberbatch again as Stephen Strange. Also joining Doctor Strange, I just talked about it will be Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, played again by Elizabeth Olsen. So a little bit, they're both on the kind of the magical side, combining in this film. That's going to be interesting, and that's going to hit theaters on May 7th of 2021.
So, yeah, that's awesome. Again, we saw some interactions in Endgame, and so between the two of them, so it's gonna be cool seeing them together.
Yeah, looking forward to that. This was announced at the shareholders meeting a while back, but I found it fascinating, and they announced it again yesterday at Hall H. The legacy of the What If comics will be adapted to screen. Marvel Comics What If, the first animated series in the MCU, will star Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher. Many actors from across the MCU will reprise their roles as voice talent. What If will present alternate realities in the Marvel universe that are set to warp your world in the summer of 2021 exclusively on Disney Plus. So when they reference this to begin with, it's a lot of like, well, what if Peggy Carter was Captain America and received the serum and became Captain America? So it's kind of twisting what is the storyline and looking at it from a different way somewhere within the multiverse, how it could have happened in a different way.
Exactly. And I think when we first announced this, we talked how this sounds like it's paralleling the TV show Once Upon a Time, where it took some of the traditional characters and kind of modified or gave them a backstory that one wouldn't expect.
Right. Kind of doing things in a different way. Again, we're exploring the multiverse in a little different ways here. And I love that. And I find that a fascinating concept. I'm excited for that one. Speaking of having somebody play a character that wasn't exactly the same gender. Well, it was revealed that someone from Thor story will return to the MCU. Natalie Portman will return for Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder, joining stars, of course, Chris Hemsworth, who has played Thor for so many times. Tessa Thompson, of course, who's Valkyrie. Taika Waititi will be returning as the director of that, just as he was for Thor Ragnarok. So he'll be back doing Thor, and we love Thor Ragnarok. So we're very happy about that.
Right.
And he confirmed that Jane Foster will become, yes, the mighty Thor, goddess of thunder. And this kind of follows the suit of what happened in the more recent, within the last 5-10 years comics, where Jane Foster ended up picking up the hammer and she ended up becoming the female version of Thor. So they're kind of following suit with that storyline.
Right. And, we had known that there was going to be a female Thor. I think there was a lot discussed prior to that. So, it's great that they're finally honing in on what's going to be happening.
Right. Looking forward to that. That's kind of exciting. Again, with Taika Waititi running it just like he did Ragnarok, I'm sure it's going to be great. Also interesting is that there was talk that Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie is looking like she's going to be the first LGBTQ member, heroine, whatever, of the Marvel universe, and that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Very happy for that.
Yes.
There's, by the way, throughout this whole, there's so much diversity, and that's exciting to me. I'm glad to see a diversity within our superheroes.
Absolutely.
For sure. So that's really cool. Another film that was rumored, but now it's been confirmed, Marvel Studios' Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson, will be reprising her role as, of course, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. And that will hit theaters on May 1st of 2020. So that's coming up pretty quickly on us. Yeah. That'll be here before you know it. Also, some other interesting notes that were just kind of not really given dates as to what they're going to happen, but Kevin Feige introduced Mahershala Ali, who is, of course, a multiple Oscar winner, and he's going to be taking over as Blade, the vampire hunting vampire, which is fascinating. I know when he was introduced, the floor of Hall H just exploded because one, he is just a great actor in general, but then this is a very interesting role within the Marvel universe, and it's exciting to see that they're going to redo that part, and I'm excited to see what he does with that part.
Absolutely. It's so great that they're getting such awesome talent. Some of the newer people that they're adding into this, and they are so talented.
Yes, I agreed with that. Everybody wants to be part of the Marvel universe right now, and that helps play a part in this because, by the way, another note just added to this, Avengers Endgame broke the record this week, just yesterday, as they passed Avatar as the highest grossing film of all time. So there you go. Good reason why you want to be part of this Marvel universe right now. Other things that were teased but weren't confirmed, but pretty much they're saying that these things are going to happen. We know there's going to be a Black Panther 2. Tease that. Don't have a date for that yet. Captain Marvel 2. Tease that. Don't have a date yet. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Tease that. Don't have a date for that. And there was also a tease, and we know that Fox has been bought by Disney. That means that we're going to start seeing some of these former Fox Marvel characters starting being put into this. They teased, yes, absolutely, a Fantastic Four movie, and he also teased something with the mutants coming and playing involved in it too, so that's on the horizon. So exciting stuff. If you thought Avengers Endgame was going to be it and Marvel was going to start taking a slide from there, this is all exciting stuff. I cannot wait to see how this next part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe unfolds.
Right. And I can't believe how much they did share there. I mean, I know they usually love doing some announcements and some, breaking news type things at Comic-Con, but this was a full-on amount of information that they shared.
Yeah, I think because obviously they wanted to share some of that with D23, and I think we're going to see more of that, not only with the Disney Plus panel that they're going to have, but also, of course, the live action panel. They are going to share a little bit more of that. But I think since Lucasfilm wasn't a big part of Comic-Con this year, they kind of wanted to get this all out at Comic-Con. And then I think they're going to focus a lot more on Lucasfilm, is just my guess, when we get to the D23 Expo. Yes, we're going to see some of this Marvel stuff, and we're going to hear a little bit more expanded interest into all this stuff. But I think that Lucasfilm is going to be the real big thing that's going to hit, especially with Rise of Skywalker coming up here this December.
Exactly. That would make sense.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
So that's it for our Disney stories of the week. We never leave you, however, without giving you some sort of tip to help you on your next vacation, trips to the Disney parks, Run Disney cruise, whatever it may be. We always give you some sort of tip to kind of help you out. And we always start with Michelle. One, because she is lovely, wonderful, just the best person you'll ever want to meet. And by the way, if there's any loving stuff that's out there on social media, it's usually from Michelle. So just so you know, I kind of retweet news. She's the one who handles all those lovely messages and all our Follow Friday stuff and all that. That is totally Michelle. She is fantastic. Everybody loves her. And
so
she
sweet.
always has the best tips. So let's get to the best tip of this week. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, honey. You're so kind. Considering we were talking about Disney World on this episode, I wanted to share one other a tip related to Disney World. And in a word, I would say barbershop. Barbershop, yes. For those of you who, you may know this already, there is a real working barbershop on Main Street, USA. And actually they do haircuts and hairstyling there as well. But my tip is, if you have a child, especially for a first haircut, this is the place to go. They really have a really nice experience, for the first haircut, and they even give you a certificate and Mickey ears to go along with it, and you get they save some locks of hair so you can put it on the certificate. And it's just a really nice addition to have that for a child's first haircut. But even if it's not a first haircut, you can, any child or toddler up to adult, male, female, they take care of you in that barbershop, and you can make reservations, and it's just a really great experience.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great point, and really a great experience. Everybody wants their child's first haircut to be memorable. Well, what could be more memorable than getting your child's first haircut right there on Main Street, USA?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I love that tip. As
Thank
always,
you.
Michelle has the best tips. Now on to my little lackluster
tip.
My tip is going to be, since we talked about this, we were just at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, and we're getting ready for D23 Expo 2019. There's some similarities involved there, and one of the similarities involved there is that oftentimes there is artwork or there are giveaways that you receive at many of these places, and you want to be prepared for that going in. If you get, there's a lot of these panels where sometimes you walk out of there with a limited edition poster or something along those lines, and you don't want to just throw that in a bag or carry that around with you in your hand, because you don't want this great poster to get wrinkled or messed up or torn or whatever. Or you may come across some great artwork on the expo floor itself. Michelle just purchased a couple of posters yesterday that she was able to get autographed by the actual artists themselves and everything. And she was lucky enough that she was able to get them to have a tube ready for them.
Right.
However, that isn't the case everywhere. A lot of times you'll find somewhere on the floor where you can purchase these tubes, but usually it's going to be at some sort of marked up rate. Okay. You should be prepared going in. If you have some sort of tube, poster size tube or whatever at home, bring that with you to the event. And even if you don't know if you're going to get anything, it's worth it to carry it around with you, so you can, if you get one of these limited edition posters, or if you find these great piece of artwork or whatever the case may be, you can protect it and bring it home in a nice, beautiful, pristine way.
Right. That's an excellent tip, because, like you said, if you're unprepared, you might have to pay more, or you might be at a booth that they don't have it there, that they're not selling it, and then you got to go find it, and you're risking, as you're running around finding something, to put a little bend into the artwork or whatever. So that is a very important tip. It's a great idea, whether you're going to any of these expos or, cons and things like that. That's an awesome tip.
Also, another point is that they do have a bag drop area there, so you don't have to carry all these things around with you, especially if you get it early in the day at the expo and you're planning on staying there till later. You don't need to carry all this stuff around with you. Go to the bag drop it off there, and pick it up at the end of the day.
Right.
And that will help help you in many ways.
Exactly. And, if you want also, or if you are unprepared, a lot of times you can ask the vendors about getting it shipped, and, they'll just charge you for that as well. And you can have it sent directly to your home.
Yeah, there is some stuff that you will not want to try and smuggle, or not smuggle, but try and wrestle aboard a plane or whatever the case may be if you're flying from anywhere else in the country, or you want to try and fit it in your car, or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, sometimes shipping is the best way to go with it. And they will absolutely, a lot of those places will absolutely do that for you to kind of help you out with that. So that's my tip. Just be prepared. I also would say bring some sort of kind of hardback folder or something that you kind of, any leaflets or anything that you want to keep kind of pristine that you can throw in a backpack, and it's not getting, as you're reaching in there trying to look for, some sort of pen or whatever else, you're not, bending or messing up some of these interesting smaller things that you might get that you can just throw in a backpack or a bag or whatever the case may be. So anyway, that's my tip of the week. Again, Michelle's tip, always the best tip. Mine, just kind of secondary.
Protecting your things is very important.
By the way, you got to see Michelle's artwork that she's got. Some really, really cool posters. You got some good stuff.
Yeah, I've tweeted out some things.
We had a lot of fun. We got to see some panels, lots of stuff about Star Wars collectibles that are coming out soon. That was a lot of fun. Just checking out the floor, just going to Comic-Con and walking around the floor. Yes. It can be crowded and crazy, but there is so much cool stuff to see there for sure.
Exactly. And again, I know Comic-Con's closing now today, but for other years, if you ever want to experience Comic-Con, but if you are unable to get a badge for Comic-Con, it is still amazing to come out to San Diego for it, because in the convention center area, in the gas lamp they call it, the whole city embraces it, but especially in that area. And you'll find a lot of people in amazing cosplay downtown. There's specials and things going on in the hotels and the restaurants. The whole city is decorated and decked out. You can find a lot of interactive displays that, mainly media companies have out there. So you can still have an amazing time at San Diego Comic-Con without actually getting into the convention center for the Comic-Con experience.
Right. And that includes, even if, let's say, we have a lot of Southern California listeners, obviously being in Southern California. If you live in LA or Orange County or whatever, and you want to just come down for the day just to kind of experience it, whether you have a badge or not, you can hop the train. Yeah. I don't know if you realize how close this is to the train station. Hop on the train in LA or Orange County early in the morning, pop on down here. You can actually walk if you want to. They also have a lot of the scooters and bikes that you can, you can rent real quickly, or just hop on the trolley. It's just a quick couple stops from there to where the convention center area and the gas lamp quarter is or whatever, and just go down and soak it all in. And then at the end of the day, hop on the train back. You don't have to worry about driving here. You don't have to worry about driving back, finding parking or anything. It's a fun day trip, whether you have a badge or not, just to kind of experience what's going on in the vicinity. And we highly recommend you doing that at some point.
Most definitely. And, in fact, trying to maneuver a car in that area is not advisable. They do have road closures, obviously, in Harbor Drive, which is right in front of the convention center. That is blocked off to traffic except for buses and things that are associated with the convention. So you wouldn't want to try to drive. You would want to somehow pick up the trolley or something like that.
But you can also, like I said, you can walk. It's actually not that far to, maybe it's a mile and a half, I think, about maybe 2 miles from actually where the train station is to the area. And you could walk, but it's easier. Just take the trolley or take the scooter or whatever the case may be to get down there and have a good time. But I highly recommend you go and check out, even if you never get a badge to Comic-Con, even if you don't want to fight out there on the floor, just to walk around downtown. And they also have so much stuff to do that they just place out there that you don't need a badge for or anything. You can just go in and try these interactive displays in and around our baseball park, Petco Park, and up and down the gas lamp. Even just to sit there and get a sidewalk side table and just watch, just people watch, have something to eat, have a drink, and just people watch, because there's some very interesting people and some very interesting cosplay going on.
And if you want to cosplay, that's the place to be. People are out there also dressed up, and obviously you don't have to, but if you really are inclined to want to do that, it's great to have that experience too.
Yes, absolutely. So that's it for this week. Next week, we're continuing. Hey, we're sticking in the realm of cosplay and Comic-Con and D23 Expo. We are continuing our Star Wars Remembered series with a look at one of Michelle's favorite, maybe her favorite movie, Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Can't wait to be talking about that. And we're so excited and thrilled that we're actually going to have a special guest joining us.
Yep, another week in a row where we're going to have a special guest joining us. And this is one of our fan favorites, one of your favorites out there, Rob LeBerry from the Jedi Temple Archives podcast will once again be joining us on this show to talk about, I swear, I'm going to sit back and let you guys talk because I love Rogue One. You guys love Rogue One. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy what you both have to say about this movie. So and that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you, by the way, if you haven't experienced the Jedi Temple Archives podcast, you really should. Rob does great stuff there. It's the podcast that doesn't make you feel like a jerk. Seriously, there are a lot of Star Wars podcasts or people that like Star Wars that kind of make you feel like, I want to enjoy it, but they make me, just because I don't know everything about it, they make me feel like a jerk, because I don't know everything about Star Wars. Well, that is not what this podcast does. You really should check it out. You can find it most everywhere you find podcasts, just like ours, Jedi Temple Archives podcast, and follow him socially at JTA Podcast.
Right. So, looking forward to that discussion. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. We always have fun with Rob. He's a great guy, and we love him to death.
Yes.
So
maybe we should all do cosplay for that show.
As far as you know, we will be, because we don't do this on camera.
No.
As far as you know, we will be. Just picture us. We're all dressed up.
Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to derail us like that. Sorry.
Obviously, it's been a long day. Let's move on. Please, I talked about following the Jedi Temple Archives podcast socially. Please follow us socially on social media, on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And of course, if you ever want to contact us about anything, please email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And once again, we really appreciate if you listen to this podcast to take a moment to give us a little review, little rating, and again, tell a friend or family.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you've already done for us to get the word out there about our podcast. We love all the reviews we've gotten, all the ratings we've gotten. Thank you so much to everyone who has done that so far. We'd like to get more of those, but we appreciate every single one that we get. You found us today. In the future, please find us on our website. That's the best place to listen to our podcast, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. You can also subscribe to us on Apple Podcast and Google Podcast. We're also on Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartMedia. Yeah. So please, if there's a place that you haven't found us, that you normally like to listen to podcasts, we're trying to get in a couple of other areas right now, but if there's something we've missed, please let us know, and you can always reach us, like I said, through the email, or just reach out to us on social media as well.
Right.
Yes. So that's it. Thanks for listening to the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. But until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.